The galaxy was calm when the signal arrived. No one in the Empire expected trouble that day. The Imperial Deep Space Center was running its routine scans, and everything looked normal. But then a strange pulse appeared on the screens. It was strong, sharp, and repeating in a slow rhythm, almost like a heartbeat. The technicians stared at it, confused. The signal was not coded in any known alien language. It did not match any natural space phenomenon. It felt intentional. Commander Arel stood behind the technicians with his arms crossed. He had served the Empire for 30 years, but he had never seen something like this. The pulse went on and on, growing louder each time. It felt as if something was getting closer. Arel ordered full analysis, but the computers struggled. Every time the system tried to decode it, the message shifted, like someone was changing it in real time. Across the station, the atmosphere changed. People whispered to each other. A cold, heavy silence filled the room. Nobody liked unknown signals from deep space. Unknown meant danger. Suddenly, the lights flickered. A shockwave hit the station so hard that some officers fell from their chairs. Warning alarms activated. Screens turned red. A giant energy wave had struck them from the same direction as the signal. It lasted only a few seconds, but the damage was serious. Power systems dropped to half. Communications went down for several minutes. The Empire had never seen an energy wave of this type. When the systems finally stabilized, the signal stopped completely. It vanished like it had never existed. The scientists were worried, and the commanders were angry. Someone, or something, was playing with them. The Empire wasted no time. They sent a scout fleet to the edge of known space to find the source. The fleet moved fast, jumping through hyperspace lanes. The deeper they went, the darker space became. Stars were fewer, light was weaker, and strange clouds of dust floated around them. After hours of travel, the fleet reached a small, unnamed planet. The first thing they saw was unbelievable. The entire planet looked burned. Its surface was cracked like old glass, and huge pieces of land floated above the ground as if gravity itself had been damaged. There were no cities left, no life signs, no atmosphere. It was as if someone had erased the planet from existence. The scout teams landed on the dead world to investigate. The ground was cold and silent. No wind moved. Every sound echoed too far, as if space itself was listening. The team spread out with scanners, looking for any clue. What they found made their blood run cold. Footprints. But not normal footprints. They were extremely large, deep, and spaced far apart. Whatever creature made them was at least 3 times the size of a human. The footprints were fresh too. Some dust still floated around the edges, meaning whoever left them was here very recently. Lieutenant Mira knelt beside one of the prints and measured it. Her hands shook. She looked at the others with wide, frightened eyes. The Empire had records of hundreds of alien species, but none of them matched the size, shape, or weight. As the team moved forward, they found more signs. Burned metal fragments. Strange symbols carved on rocks. Massive claw marks on what remained of the planet's old mountains. It looked like an entire civilization had been destroyed not long ago. One of the officers whispered under his breath. If this was only one creature, what happens when the rest arrive? While the ground teams explored, the scout ships scanned space around the planet. Captain Rovan noticed something strange. The signal was still there, but now it was faint, buried under layers of static. It felt like someone was trying to hide it. Or maybe the source was damaged. Suddenly, one of the ships picked up a movement far away. A shadow appeared on the edge of the radar. It was large and slow-moving. At first they thought it was an asteroid, but then the shape changed. It was too smooth, too controlled. It was a ship, massive and silent. The alien craft did not respond to any calls. It did not send a message. It simply floated closer. The Empire ships prepared weapons just in case, but the alien ship did nothing. It scanned them. A beam of blue light passed over the entire fleet in a few seconds. Then the alien ship drifted away, disappearing into the darkness without a single shot. The commanders were shocked. Who scans a full fleet and leaves? What kind of enemy behaves like that? When the ground team returned to their ship, everyone felt uneasy. Every officer, every scientist, every soldier sensed the same thing. They were being studied. The Empire was not the hunter this time. They were the prey. As the fleet prepared to report back to headquarters, a final message appeared on their screens. It was short, cold, and delivered in perfect Imperial language. "We are coming." No name. No explanation. No reason. Just a warning. Commander Arel stared at the message for a long time. His voice was quiet but heavy when he finally spoke. They said, "We." That means this wasn't their full force. Maybe not even their real army. A soft fear spread through the crew as the stars outside grew darker, as if hiding something enormous in the void. The Empire had no idea what was watching them. But whatever it was not afraid. And it was not alone. The Empire was in chaos after the report from the scout fleet. High-ranking officials argued in the Central Command Hall. Some said it was just a new alien species. They could handle it. Others were convinced that the enemy was far beyond anything the Empire had faced. Fear hung over every officer like a thick fog. Commander Arel walked through the hall quietly. His uniform was neat, but his hands shook slightly. He could feel the tension. No one knew what to do next. The unknown alien fleet had not attacked fully, yet it had already shown its strength. And the warning, "We are coming," was still echoing in everyone's mind. Scientists worked frantically to decode the signal. They had high-powered computers running hundreds of simulations at once, but every attempt failed. The message kept shifting. No pattern. No language. Just intelligence. It was alive in some way, adapting to every analysis. The Empire decided to attempt first contact. A diplomatic vessel was prepared and sent toward the coordinates of the alien craft. On board, Ambassador Lean felt a mix of fear and pride. This was the first chance to speak to an alien civilization unknown to the galaxy. It should have been an honor. Instead, it felt like walking into a trap. When the vessel arrived, nothing looked familiar. The alien ship hovered silently, massive yet smooth, with a surface that reflected the stars like liquid metal. It did not move, but scanners showed constant energy fluctuations. Someone, or something, was inside, watching. Lean's voice trembled as she tried to speak. "We come in peace. We represent the Galactic Empire." There was no reply. Not even a sound. Then, a simple, glowing word appeared on the ship's surface. The text was in perfect Imperial script, but it was unlike any normal communication. It said, "Prepare." The word burned into the minds of the crew. It was not a request. Not a warning. It was an order. The Empire officers froze. Prepare for what? For war? For destruction? The aliens' intentions were completely unknown. The ship hovered for a few moments longer, scanning the Empire vessel with pulses of energy that ran along its surface like veins of light. Then it vanished. Gone. Just like that. On board the command ship, alarms suddenly went off. Sensors detected movement across the void. Another alien vessel appeared, smaller this time, fast and sleek. It zipped past the Empire fleet, scanning every ship in seconds. Every scanner, every shield, every weapon system was analyzed. Then it disappeared, leaving only silence. Captain Roven shook his head. "They are studying us, like we are toys." The word spread quickly. The aliens were not just strong, they were intelligent. They were testing the Empire. And no one knew why. The Empire's leaders held an emergency meeting. Generals argued over strategy. Some wanted immediate retaliation, but others feared any attack might provoke total destruction. One thing was clear: the Empire had never faced an enemy that could appear and vanish at will, strike without warning, and manipulate their fear. In the dark corners of the command hall, whispers grew louder. What if their full fleet is even bigger? Someone asked. What if what we saw is only the beginning? Commander Arel said nothing, but he knew the truth. He had spent decades in the military. He had faced countless battles. And this was different. This was not just war. This was a test. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, other fleets and colonies noticed strange anomalies. Communications failed, systems glitched, and reports of mysterious shadows and strange energy pulses reached the Central Command. The aliens were everywhere, watching. The Empire realized that they were not dealing with a single enemy fleet. They were dealing with a civilization that could appear anywhere, anytime. Ambassador Lean, still aboard the diplomatic vessel, wrote in her log. I do not know if they are hostile. I do not know their goal. But I know this, if they choose to strike, nothing we have will be enough. The silence after her message was chilling. No one knew how to respond. The Empire had armies, fleets, and planets under its control. And yet, for the first time, they felt small, weak, insignificant. Commander Arel looked at the stars outside. Somewhere in the dark void, the unknown enemy waited. Watching, learning, preparing. And the Empire could only wait, and hope they would not strike first. The first contact had failed. The aliens had spoken with a single word, and it was enough to ignite fear across the galaxy. The Empire's confidence was gone. And the question burned in everyone's mind. If this was only a test, then what would happen when the real attack came? The warning from the aliens had barely settled when the sky above the Empire's outer planets darkened. Scouts reported movement on long-range sensors. At first, it seemed like a small fleet, perhaps a dozen ships, maybe 20. Nothing the Empire could not handle. The High Command breathed easier, thinking victory was certain. Commander Arel frowned. Something did not feel right. The ships moved in perfect formation, faster than any known technology. Even small fighters kept pace with massive cruisers without difficulty. The Empire fleet prepared for what they believed would be an easy battle. When the alien ships appeared fully, the Empire laughed. They were small, sleek, and fewer than expected. The admiral in charge, confident in his centuries of strategy, gave the order, engage. Destroy them quickly. The first shots were fired. The Empire's lasers cut through space, streaking toward the aliens. But something impossible happened. The lasers passed through the enemy ships like mist. Shields flashed, but they did not even flicker under the attack. The Empire ships tried again. Missiles, energy cannons, swarm fighters, all were destroyed before they even reached their target. The alien fleet moved like a single organism, dodging and countering with precision. Every move the Empire made was anticipated. In minutes, half of the Empire fleet was gone. Explosions lit the darkness of space. Ships broke apart under attacks so fast no one could react. The remaining vessels tried to retreat, but the aliens pressed forward relentlessly. Commander Arel watched from the command bridge, stunned. It's impossible, he whispered. They can't be real. A single alien ship moved closer to Arel's flagship. Its surface shimmered, reflecting the stars, as if it were made of living metal. A cold, calm voice filled the Empire communications network. This is not our army. This is only our test. The words sent a wave of horror through the fleet. Every officer, every soldier, every technician understood immediately. What they had seen, what had just destroyed hundreds of ships, was not even a fraction of the enemy's true power. Panic spread. Fleets broke formation. Orders were shouted but could not be executed fast enough. Ships collided, weapons misfired, and communication lines broke down. The Empire's pride, built over centuries, crumbled in front of them. On one planet below, civilians watched the sky light up with the glow of battle. They had been told the Empire was strong, invincible even. Now, fear replaced loyalty. Entire cities began evacuating. Rumors spread. The aliens were unstoppable, more advanced than any species, and completely merciless. Commander Arel refused to give up. He ordered his remaining ships to regroup near the nearest hyperspace gate. They needed time, and more importantly, they needed information. Meanwhile, the alien fleet did not pursue. After testing the Empire's strength, it vanished as quickly as it had appeared. Ships reappeared on sensors far away, and then disappeared again, leaving only silence and smoke. The Empire fleet had survived, but barely. Ships drifted damaged, crews were lost, and morale was shattered. The High Command issued emergency orders. Do not engage. Gather intelligence. Prepare for the unknown. Arel sat in the bridge alone for a moment. His mind replayed the words of the alien commander. This is not our army. This is only our test. A chill ran through him. If this was only a test, then the real attack could destroy entire star systems. The Empire, with all its power and history, might not survive. And somewhere in the darkness of space, the Real army waited. The galaxy would never be the same. The Empire was in shock. News of the fleet's destruction spread like wildfire across the galaxy. Governors called emergency meetings, citizens panicked, and soldiers questioned their leaders. For centuries, the Empire had been unchallenged. Now, for the first time, fear replaced confidence. On the capital world, banners of loyalty were torn down in the streets. People whispered that the Empire had lost half its fleet in minutes. Parents clutched their children, wondering if their planets would be next. Rumors of the alien test fleet spread faster than any official report. Some claimed that entire systems had vanished without a trace. Others said the aliens were not just advanced, they were unstoppable. High Command convened immediately. Generals argued fiercely over strategy. Some demanded an all-out attack, believing that strength and numbers could still win. Others insisted that the Empire should retreat and hide, to buy time. Everyone agreed on one thing: no one had ever seen technology like the aliens. Weapons, shields, speed, everything the Empire relied on was inferior. Commander Arel moved quietly through the command center. His face was calm, but inside he felt the weight of despair. The Empire had faced enemies before: rebellions, rival empires, alien raiders. But none had come like this. These aliens did not just fight. They studied. They tested. They humiliated. Meanwhile, across the border systems, panic spread. Entire colonies evacuated their planets. Supply ships struggled to leave ports. Emergency broadcasts warned citizens to stay calm, but nobody listened. Fear had taken control. In the labs, scientists worked tirelessly to understand the alien technology. Screens displayed diagrams they could barely comprehend. Ships that moved faster than the speed of sound, weapons that struck before they were even fired, shields that seemed to anticipate attacks. This was beyond anything the Empire had built. Every attempt to replicate the technology failed. In the council chamber, a young historian spoke. Long ago, another civilization faced this enemy. They disappeared completely. Nothing was left. We must assume the worst. Some generals scoffed at the warning, but others listened with grave concern. It was not just about losing fleets. It was about survival. The Empire might not survive the encounter if the aliens returned with their full force. Commander Arel called his officers together. We cannot fight blindly, he said. We must gather information. We must prepare. And we must hope. That hope is enough. Despite the fear, a plan began to take shape. Small, specialized units would be trained to study the aliens. Scientists would focus on understanding their technology. And the Empire would reinforce border defenses, though no one believed they could hold against the enemy's real army. At night, as the capital world skies darkened with tension, citizens looked up at the stars and whispered prayers. The Empire had ruled the galaxy for centuries, but now the stars themselves seemed alive with danger. Somewhere, far beyond the border, the aliens waited. Watching. Calculating. Preparing. and the Empire, despite all its power, could do nothing but wait for the storm to come. The galaxy had entered a new age. One ruled not by confidence or control, but by fear. And deep in the hearts of those who had seen the enemy, one thought burned brighter than any star. If this was only a test, then the real attack would be worse than anything they could imagine. Months passed since the first attack. The Empire was still reeling. Ships were rebuilt, border systems reinforced, but the fear never left. Every officer, every citizen, every soldier felt it, the knowledge that they had seen only a glimpse of the enemy. In a quiet corner of the Imperial archives, a historian named Kale studied old records. Dust covered the shelves, and the light from his lamp flickered. He had spent years researching lost civilizations, ancient wars, and forgotten empires. But now, he had found something different. Something that chilled him to the bone. Kale read aloud softly to himself. The Zypherians faced an enemy that moved like shadows and vanished without warning. Every world they touched was destroyed. Entire galaxies erased from history. He paused, staring at the faded pages. The words were centuries old, but the message was clear. The aliens the Empire faced now were the same species that had destroyed the Zypherians long ago. They were not here for resources. They were here for domination. Kale's assistant, a young officer named Tira, leaned over his shoulder. "Are you saying, this is not the first civilization they've attacked?" she asked, her voice trembling. Kale nodded. "No. And history shows that no one has survived. If the Empire does not prepare carefully, we could be next." Tira's face went pale. She had grown up hearing stories of the Empire's strength, its fleets, its unstoppable power. And now she understood how fragile that power really was. Kale continued, tracing the old maps with his finger. "Their fleet is not just fast or strong. They are strategic, intelligent, and patient. They do not attack blindly. They study, they test, they plan. The destruction we saw was a warning, not the full force." The words hung in the air, heavy and silent. Tira swallowed hard. "Then what do we do?" Kale shook his head. "We learn. We adapt. We fight differently. We cannot match them in strength. We must match them in cunning." Meanwhile, in the capital, the Empire's leaders tried to maintain calm. They issued statements of reassurance, but the fear was impossible to hide. The council debated every possible plan, attack, retreat, or negotiate, but none felt safe. Every suggestion seemed weak in comparison to the threat. Across the galaxy, scouts continued to report strange phenomena. Planets disappeared from sensors, unexplained energy waves pulsed through space, and shadows moved faster than anything the Empire could track. The aliens were everywhere, or at least, it felt that way. Kale, however, saw a glimmer of hope. History also shows that intelligence can adapt. We can survive if we act wisely. We can fight back, but only if we understand them. Tira looked at him, determination growing in her eyes. "Then we must find a way. We cannot wait for them to strike again. If this is only a test, we need to be ready for the real war." Kale nodded. "Exactly. The Empire has strength, yes, but it will take courage, strategy, and unity to survive. And perhaps, a touch of human ingenuity." The historian turned back to the ancient records, tracing symbols and diagrams that had long been forgotten. Somewhere in those pages lay the secrets the Empire needed. Secrets that could give them a chance against the unstoppable enemy. Far away, in the dark reaches of space, the alien forces continued their silent observation. Their test had begun, and the Empire had barely passed the first stage. The real challenge, the arrival of their full strength, was still to come. And the Empire, for all its pride and power, had only one choice: prepare, adapt, and hope it was enough to survive the storm that awaited them. The Empire realized that brute force alone would not stop the aliens. Fleets and weapons, no matter how large or powerful, were useless against an enemy that could strike and vanish at will. A new plan was needed, one that relied on speed, intelligence, and cunning. From the far reaches of the Empire, a team was assembled. It was small, secret, and highly specialized. Soldiers, scientists, and engineers were brought together from different worlds. They were the Empire's last hope, a human strike team designed to confront the alien threat directly. Commander Arel oversaw the team's training personally. He walked among them, observing their drills. The soldiers were strong and disciplined, but this mission required more than strength. They needed speed, stealth, and precision. Every movement, every tactic had to be perfect. The scientists worked alongside them, building new weapons and tools. Devices that could temporarily disrupt alien shields. Ships that could move faster than the eye could track. Armor that adapted to the enemy's energy pulses. Every piece of equipment was experimental, but it was the best the Empire could offer. Among the team, Lieutenant Mira stood out. She had been on the first scout mission and had seen the alien footprints. She remembered the fear, the power, and the intelligence of the enemy. That memory drove her to push herself harder than anyone else. She trained night and day, running simulations, learning alien tactics, and preparing for the moment they would finally face them. Captain Roven oversaw the flight crews. The ships they would pilot were smaller, faster, and equipped with advanced stealth technology. The pilots ran drills through asteroid fields and debris storms, practicing maneuvers that no ordinary fleet could survive. Every mission was simulated under extreme pressure, to prepare for the worst. Despite the fear, morale began to grow. For the first time in months, the Empire's people saw hope. This team was small, but they were skilled. They were humans who could think faster, adapt quicker, and act more decisively than the alien scouts. The Empire pinned its hopes on them. Training was brutal. Mistakes were punished by lessons, not death. Every failure taught the team something about the alien tactics. Every success built confidence. Slowly, the team became more than a group of soldiers. They became a single unit, moving as one mind, one purpose. After weeks of preparation, the first mission was announced. The team would intercept an alien scout ship that had been observed near the edge of Empire space. This was not a full battle. It was a test. But it would be the team's first direct engagement with the enemy. As they boarded their ships, the human team felt a mix of fear and excitement. They were about to face a species that had destroyed fleets, erased civilizations, and shown power far beyond imagination. And yet, they also carried the knowledge that their ingenuity, courage, and determination might be the Empire's only chance. Commander Arel watched them leave the hangar. He felt pride, but also a shadow of worry. The aliens were intelligent, unpredictable, and relentless. One wrong move could destroy the team, and with it, the Empire's best hope. The ships launched, streaking into the darkness of space. The stars blurred past as the team approached their target. Every sensor on board was active. Every system monitored. Every mind focused. Somewhere ahead, the alien scout waited, unaware that the humans were coming. But it would not stay unaware for long. The first strike had begun. The human strike team moved silently through space. Their ships were small, fast, and equipped with the latest stealth technology, but every pilot knew the danger ahead. This was no ordinary mission. They were about to confront a species that had already destroyed fleets and civilizations. Lieutenant Mira stared at the main screen. "There," she whispered. A shadow flickered on the sensors. The alien scout ship appeared, sleek and silent, almost blending into the darkness of space. Its surface shimmered like liquid metal, and a strange energy pulse ran across it. It was watching them. Captain Roven took a deep breath. "Remember your training. We move together, strike fast, and capture one alive. Do not underestimate them." The team split into formation, surrounding the alien ship from multiple angles. They moved like predators, careful, precise, waiting for the right moment. Then, with a single command, they struck. Energy nets fired from the human ships, wrapping around the alien vessel. Shields flared. The alien struggled, pulsing with energy to break free, but the team's technology held. For the first time, the humans had the upper hand. Myra's heart pounded as boarding pods attached to the ship. They prepared to enter. Every movement was tense. Every second counted. The alien inside was unlike anything they had imagined, tall, sleek, and completely calm. Its eyes glowed faintly, observing every human movement with cold intelligence. They captured it. Alive. Commander Arel watched the mission unfold from the command bridge. For the first time in months, he felt hope. The Empire had something to study, something to learn from. Perhaps they could turn the tide. But then the alien spoke. Its voice was calm, mechanical, yet perfectly clear in the human minds. Your fleet is weak. Your weapons are primitive. This was only a fraction of what we have. Our real army has not arrived. A chill ran through every officer listening. Mira stepped back, stunned. The alien's words were not a threat, they were a promise. On the sensors, a faint blip appeared far beyond the border systems. At first, it looked small, distant. But the shape grew, massive and terrifying. Thousands of ships, stretching farther than the eye could see, moved in formation through hyperspace. The full fleet had arrived. The galaxy seemed to hold its breath. Every planet, every fleet, every human and alien lifeform was about to witness something beyond imagination. Commander Arel clenched his fists. He knew that the Empire had fought many battles, survived countless wars, and faced enemies before. But this was different. The true storm had come. Mira and the strike team stared at the sensors, knowing that what they had seen so far was only the beginning. The alien's final words echoed in their minds. When we arrive, your galaxy will not be ready. And with that, the darkness of space seemed to grow heavier. A shadow unlike any before stretched across the stars, signaling the beginning of a war that could change everything. The Empire was no longer the hunter. It was the prey. And somewhere in the infinite void, the real battle was about to begin.